So is Silicon Valley, is the homes there finally cooling or not? So here's a short answer. Home prices in Santa Clara County just gave back about 7.5% in 1 year. But at the same time, more homes were sold this spring than any spring in the last 3 years. Both of these are true. So tonight I want to talk a little bit about the market and what's happening in Silicon Valley and Santa Clara County. So I have created a great presentation pulling stats from the last 6 years to really put together what's happening and give you the full picture because you see the headlines, you see home prices are falling. What does that really mean? So I got some great numbers. If you have questions, please leave comments in the chat, and I will get around to them and answer them live. Uh, Excited for this one. Like I said, I pulled 6 years of 6 years of data to go through with you guys. So I'm going to kind of pull up. I have some slides I built out just because the numbers are there's too many numbers to remember basically. But right now we have 2,600 homes that are active and 361 new listings this week. 233 went pending this last week and 231 sold. So that's not a dead market. 2,600 active listings, that is very high. And we're seeing a lot of homes go pending. And if you want to look here over our last 3 years, so you can see we are down 7.6% year over year, but we're about the same we were in June of 2024. So that's really the key. I want to, all the gains that we made from 24 to 25 has kind of gone down. And a lot of that has to do with interest rates. But you can still see, look at this crazy number on the very right here. Our sale to list price is still 103.3%. So you're still getting, sellers are still getting over 100% of what they're asking for. Now in 2024, it was at 107%. So that's 4% difference there. That's quite a big difference. And average days on market has gone up. So you've seen it go from 15 in 2024 to 18 in 25 to 20 in 2026. So we are seeing days on the market go up over the course of the last couple of years. But you've really seen the good homes, the ones that are fixed up and that look good, they're still selling over asking price. They're still selling in a week. So really what we're telling our sellers is to do everything you can to make your home present as good as possible. The ones that are sitting, the ones that are struggling to sell right now are the ones that maybe the paint is all sorts of different colors. The floors are really old. The cabinets in the kitchen is very dated. You're seeing older homes sit a little bit longer right now, and you're seeing the updated ones, the ones that everyone likes, those are moving very quick. So, if you're a seller, it's not that you can't get top dollar for your home. It's just you're not getting the bidding wars that you were getting a few years ago. Here's something that's really an interesting stat is sales are up this first half of 2026. So you can see in 2024, the first half, we were at almost 3,800, 3,789. Last year, we were at 3,683. And this year, we're at 3,800 homes that have sold in this first half of 2026. That's pretty remarkable. So even with everything going on, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that interest rates started to go down at the beginning of this year, and then they've kind of gone back up. And I think that's hurt a little bit in the spring and summer, but you're still seeing homes move. You're still seeing a ton of buyers out there, a lot of activity, and things are moving quickly. 20 days is what the data shows, and that's still a very quick market. Especially if you compare it to what it's been years ago, let's say before 2005, it's pretty average. And you can see here kind of what the median single family home has done in Santa Clara County since 2020. It's up 39%. So in August of 2020, the median home in Santa Clara County sold for 1.4 million. We're at 1.95. So even though it's down a little bit over the last year, those gains from the last 6 or 5 years has been so huge that it's just a little bit of a setback. Now, if you bought in the peak, if you bought in those 2021 to 2023 years, you're looking at it, you're feeling the pain a little bit right now. But I'm happy to tell you that year over year, it's always going to pretty much go up. There's very few years that we have where we see what it's done. So long term, your investments are safe. You're not going to see what's happened the last year typically. Now, maybe you guys have different opinions, and if you do, drop them in the comments. If you think that the market's going to keep going down over the next year, couple of years, I'd be curious to know. I personally, I think it's going to keep going up. I think, we have a little bit of a downturn here. I think there's things that have played into that. I think the war with Iran has played into that. I think oil prices going up because of that war, inflation concerns, and interest rates that were coming down all of a sudden started to go the other direction. I saw today that they were at 6.85. That's not a great rate. So, that's definitely going to play into what's happening. But if you're a buyer, not that just means that now's the time to get off the couch and go buy something. You're getting great deals out there. You're seeing homes at very low pricing. So again, if you have a comment, leave it in there. Happy to answer live on here. But I mean, like I said, since 2020 to now, 39%. I mean, that's crazy to go from 1.4 to 1.95 in that short period of time. So definitely some good gains for homeowners here. And we had inventory hit a 3-year high. I think that's another really good indicator. Excuse me, had to get a sip of water there. Yeah, so we saw single family homes for sale in May at 1129, and condos and townhomes. I have a slide that gets into that because those a completely different market than what we're seeing on single family homes, but those are at 822. So there is a ton of inventory out there. So buyers definitely have a lot of options and they can actually shop. That hasn't been the case for 15 years almost. But here's that split market I want to talk to you about. So you can see just in Santa Clara County, the median price for homes from 2024 to 2026 is about even. And days on market slightly up. The sale to list is down a little bit and inventory is up 13%. But on condos, this is what's really interesting is in the last couple years, they've gone from 1,075,000 to 910,000. So you've seen a huge drop in prices on condos and townhomes over the last couple years. And the days on market has almost doubled. Now they are still getting about 100%, but that is very deceiving because people are lowering prices. And so what you're seeing there is definitely a little bit different. And inventory is up a lot. So I want to talk a little bit about what's happening with that condo market. You had legislation that was passed for balconies, and it all stems from there was a balcony collapse in Oakland. Gosh, I can't remember the exact time frame. I didn't pull up this stat. I wasn't planning on going to that direction, but there was a balcony collapse that happened in Oakland. And so they passed legislation that all balconies in condos and apartments had to be inspected and brought up to current standards and codes. Well, that hit HOAs very hard and cost a lot of money, not only the inspections, but also making repairs and fixing all these things. So the prices went up. That caused HOA prices to go from, let's say it was 250 or 300. Now you're seeing the average one around $600 a month. $600 is quite a bit of money to pay for just an HOA, especially with some of them that don't even have amenities. I mean, I was at one a couple weeks ago looking at it. It was $800 a month, no pool, no park, nothing, just just for the grounds, $800 a month. And that was, I don't know who would want to pay that, truthfully. But, and here's the interesting thing is starting August 1st, you're actually going to have new regulations that were passed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac also, where you have to show that you have 10% of funding if you're one of these HOAs. So they can't skirt by with having not enough funds in the bank to cover replacement costs and things. They predict about 70% of condos will not qualify for a normal federal funded loan, which means that you're going to see people have to go outside of those regulations, outside of Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and that's going to increase your loan costs, and that's going to make the affordability of condos even worse. And the other thing that's kind of been hurting condos is insurance. So any more than you're seeing hard insurance costs across the board, especially in fire zone areas, insurances have raised the cost for condos as well. And it's been hitting them very hard. And they've passed that cost along to obviously the tenants that live in there. So that's really hurt all of the condos. And if you're just joining in, if you have a question, throw the question in the comments section, and I'll answer it live on here. Anyways, back to it. But so condos have been hit very hard. HOA prices have gone through the roof, and that's really something that they're going to have to figure out here in the next couple years, or else it just becomes an affordability thing. It's either going to crash all the pricing on condos, and that's the only way that would make it affordable. Because if you're paying $800 to $1,000 a month for an HOA, that brings single family homes makes it more affordable for you. But it also makes single family homes a little bit more popular, and it will drive those prices up because you'll see the people that were going to buy those wait for a single family home. It's an interesting dilemma there. So what's happened, here's just kind of a little peek into what's going on. So San Jose, it's at $730,000 is the median price for a condo or townhome, and that's down from 810. Santa Clara, $1,075,000, Palo Alto, 1.5, and Sunnyvale, 1,225. So that's kind of what's happening on those prices in each of those territories or cities. And I find this really interesting is where the buyers are. So if you look kind of at that 2.25 to 2.75, you can see that has really dropped significantly. So you've seen a lot less people buying kind of in that 2 million. And that's really what I've found is actually that 1.75 to 2.75 has been hurt very hard. Those are a lot of the people that I'm seeing that are very heavily relying on loans, more so than the upper tier here. And you can see 19% in that 3.75 to 4.25. So you've seen a lot of buyers in that luxury market still buying. That's where I've seen the most action. And actually kind of in the lower end too, you've seen those go up. And I've actually seen a lot of those happen kind of more in the South County. And actually there's a slide that will show those numbers too. But yeah, I think that kind of mid-tier, the people that are trying to get that first jump up. So maybe they bought a home 5 to 7 years ago. Was their starter home, and now they're looking for their next home. That's the territory where I'm seeing people not upgrade their home. They're not buying up. That's really kind of where we're seeing numbers fall. I think this is an interesting comparison here too. I pulled out two of kind of my favorite areas. So Los Altos has gone up every single year, and it's still going up. And I mean, it's about $50,000, almost $50,000 a year, but went up 100,000 over the last year, actually. So that's still moving up. Whereas Willow Glen has dropped every single year for the last, 2024 to 25 and 25 to 26. I guess the last couple of years, it's gone down, which is really fascinating to me because I think Willow Glen is a great buy right now. It's a beautiful area, beautiful town, It's so convenient if you're commuting to Google or Apple, Nvidia. There's so many different ways you can get on the freeway from there and take it down. I love Willow Glen. It's one of my favorite towns in all of Silicon Valley, really. There's so much to do, great restaurants. It's a great area. But yeah, I think that one of the reasons it's going down, if I'm being honest, is some of the homes that you're seeing come on the market there, they need some work. They're not quite move-in ready. And right now, the buyers that we have out there, they want that move-in ready home. They want to go into a home and not feel like they have to fix it up. So I think that's what's hurting some of that area. Los Altos, more in the luxury market where people are okay. You get teardowns there that people will buy for $4 million and put a couple million into it, or you get the completely renovated one. It's a interesting market there, but a beautiful market. I love Los Altos. Actually, my grandfather, fun little story time. My grandfather actually owned the local grocery store in Los Altos. Um, Sold it before I was born, but where Drager's is now in Los Altos, he actually sold his store to Drager's. It used to be called White Cliff Market. Him and his father, so my great grandfather, they started that market together. They owned one in Palo Alto, and then they owned that one in Los Altos. And towards the end of it, before they sold it, it was just that one in Los Altos. So I have some deep roots in Los Altos. Love that area. Both my parents went to Los Altos High School and graduated from there. They claim they didn't know each other when they went to high school there. Seems a little weird, but yeah, they both went there and graduated the same year. If you're just joining us, if you have any questions, drop the questions in the comments. If you're liking what you're hearing, put one in there. Let me know you're alive out there. But so here's really what's interesting is what's happened with that kind of buyer that's looking for around 1.5 million. And I've seen it go south. I've seen it go to Morgan Hill, San Martin, Gilroy. Now, I see a lot of it in Morgan Hill. I've seen a lot of people relocate from kind of more up towards Campbell, West San Jose, Santa Clara, looking to get more home for their money, or they're looking for their first home, looking at Morgan Hill. It's become a great little area. And so we've actually seen the median price here go up almost 100,000. So where we've seen the whole county drop 7.6%, we've actually seen the price here go up 7.3%. So that just kind of shows you where the money is funneling right now, especially in this price range. And a lot of people ask me if they have $1 million and they want a single family home, where can they go? And honestly, Gilroy right now, you can get a great home for right around $1 million. I know it's a little out of the way. I know it's not like the prettiest town there is out there, but it's a great little community that has really done really well over the last 10 years. My family actually migrated out that way, downsized. It's a great area. You're so close. You can get to Carmel within an hour. You're still within 40 minutes of downtown San Jose. So it's a great area if you're trying to get into the market. If you're trying to find that home around $1 million or 1.5 and you feel priced out of San Jose, going a little bit further south can oftentimes be a great solution and worth exploring. I'm not saying it's for everyone. That commute can definitely get to the best of us. I commuted from Gilroy to Fremont. I worked at Tesla for a little while. Interesting stories there. But during that commute, I mean, it can take its toll. An hour commute one way and an hour commute back. That's 2 hours a day. And I get it. Like when you work in tech, you work a lot of hours already. You're already working 10 hours a day most of the time, sometimes 12 hours. So adding 2 hours can be a little bit brutal. Now, I was fortunate because I was able to kind of adjust my schedule. So I went in about 10 a.m., tried to avoid the traffic going in, and I left about 6:30 or 7 and avoided most of the traffic coming back. So if you're able to adjust your schedules, it definitely can be worth a commute to get that nice home, have a yard for the dog to play in. At least that's what I wanted. I got my chocolate lab buddy. Um, but let's see here. So, I think it's interesting that the Fed made a comment, I want to say it was earlier this month, that they don't foresee reducing rates this year. So I think we're going to be in the low sixes for the rest of this year. And so waiting doesn't really make sense. And honestly, a lot of times for the savings you get for waiting for rates to drop, you're going to see home prices go up, and that affordability ends up not being much more affordable. There are things that you can do. I actually had a conversation with someone recently, a buyer who is looking, and he had a great idea. He had obviously done a lot of research, but because right now there's so many sellers out there, you see that inventory numbers up so high that having the leverage to go in and ask for the seller to even do a 3-2-1 buy down. Now, not a lot of people realize what a 3-2-1 is, but what that will do is it will lower your interest rate 3% year 1, 2% year 2, 1% year 3. So if you're at 6.5%, your rate's at 3.5% for that whole first year. Then it's at about 4.5% that year after, and then 5.5. Then it goes to whatever the rate was when you signed on. But at that point, you could refinance. So within that 3 years, you find your refinance window, and it can work out really great. And right now, when you have sellers that are looking to offload their homes, and they're looking for ways to incentivize people, asking for a $20,000 credit or a $40,000 credit at closing to pay for that buy down can be worth it more than getting that 40,000 off the price of the home. You'll see a better return on your money sometimes. So it's definitely something to think about if you're looking to buy right now. What leverage can you use to your advantage to really get an amazing deal and get your payment down if that's something you're looking at? Even a 5 or 7 year arm can be a great thing to look into, because it doesn't seem like rates are going to come down this year, but I do think over the next couple years, hopefully the rates do come down and we start seeing them in the fives again. Because I don't think we're going to see them in the six forever. But here's a slide kind of showing, like, if you wait for, let's say in a year from now, it goes to 5.8. Well, the home price will probably go up $75,000 to $100,000. So you're really not saving that much. Where right now, there's not that many buyers competing for the homes. So instead of getting 9 offers on a home, you're only seeing 2 or 3 offers. And it's really it's a good market to buy, is what I'm trying to say, and get a good deal. So I was trying to read a comment that came in from Soul here. They're in 95123. They've seen a pretty even mix of big renovation, post sale on older homes, a few teardowns. Could the older homes with less improvements lower the median? Yeah, I think that's a very good observation. When you look at the median prices, we're not looking at the average, but we're looking at the median. So what's the home sale in the middle? I think definitely when you see the older homes that are not fixed up, it's definitely dragging it down. You're definitely going to have the high ends and the lows, and the median is supposed to give you kind of a good whole picture of what's happening in that market. So I think definitely having older homes that are not fixed up. We also see a lot of homes that are being inherited. So we have one of the biggest turnover in homes being inherited in the entire country here in Santa Clara County. I actually just made a video that I released a couple of days ago on what to do if you just inherited a home. So if you're interested, check out that video. But little ad read for myself there, I guess. But anyways, the what I'm trying to say is a lot of people who inherit a home, they don't want to do much work to it. So they're just trying to get rid of the home, get their inheritance, and move on. And so you do see a lot of older homes that are being sold at lower prices than what a lot of the up to date homes would sell for. And that definitely does skew the numbers a little bit. And you see it in different neighborhoods more. I mean, if you're in over by Communication Hill, it definitely leans more younger. You see people buying that are more entry level new home buyers over there. In more established areas like Saratoga, Los Gatos, Los Altos, you definitely have more of an older generation that you'll see that a lot more in. Those aren't as much entry level homes that you have people buying. So those the people who own them tend to be a little bit older. So yeah, I think you're definitely hit it on the head there that the older homes definitely lower the median a little bit, but that's going to be the same for every single year. So when you look at the year over year numbers, you should still get a very good idea of what's happening. And I think it's interesting because I hear all the time how people want to wait until rates go back down. They want to see them at 3% again. And I have told lots of people, my brother included, that you're never going to see rates at 3% again. And I just kind of want to pull this up to show you what today's rates, where they sit, and what normal really is. Because in the 2010s, so, the last 15 years, them being in the 4% range, that was not normal. Them during COVID getting to 3% and some people getting under 3%, that's not normal at all. Most of the time, you're going to see rates kind of fall. I mean, truthfully, kind of in the 4 to 6% range. For when, they really need to try and get things moving and the home market is not great, they're going to lower the rates more. But I'd say 5 to 6% is the average market of where you're going to see rates fall and where that's a good number. And I've also heard a lot of people talk about how we're in a housing crisis, that we're going to see all these homes start being foreclosed on, like in 2008. And I just kind of want to point out that in 2008, 1 in 55 homes were getting foreclosed on. That was atrocious, historic, obvious mortgage crisis, everything that happened. Then in 2015, where you could say we were in a good, even market. So, not a buyer's market, not a seller's market. 1 in 122 homes were foreclosed on. Right now, it's 1 in 758 homes. So, I mean, we're not in danger of foreclosures at all. I mean, that's a crazy number. I had to double check that multiple times because I didn't quite believe that. But it's true. And where I think the fear comes from is, are we in an AI bubble right now? You're seeing in our area a lot of AI money. You're seeing Nvidia, you're seeing OpenAI, you're seeing Anthropic, SpaceX. I mean, that's more in Texas, but people who own it here and are part of it. So is this bubble, is it an early indicator of what's going to happen like in the early 2000s? And I think there's just too much equity people own in their homes for it to happen. I mean, we're so equity rich in this area that the foreclosures are not as likely, but anything can happen. And this is another chart that I really love is, again, when everyone says, "Oh my God, the world's ending with our prices," is we've really only had 7 times where home prices fell, and this is in the US as a whole, so this is not local. Now, local, like I showed you earlier, we're down 7.6% local here, and but in the US, we've only had 7 times, and look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them were from 2007 to 2011. So during that main housing crisis, we had 5 years in a row of negative home prices. Otherwise, it was 1990 and 91. Other than that, it's gone up every single year. Now, 2025 only went up 1.4%. And again, this is for all of the US. I just kind of wanted to zoom out for a second and say that, the world's not ending, the market's not crashing. We're in a very good place. Now, there's definitely microclimates that is being impacted. There's certain parts. Arizona, I know, has a ton of inventory. Home prices have gone down in a lot of places in Arizona, but you're seeing places that are over by Gilbert where they're building new. I think TSMC is building over there. You're seeing a lot of tech kind of move to areas like Arizona, Gilbert in particular, that sort of region. Texas has seen some good tech go that way. Unfortunately, we're seeing some of the tech leave Silicon Valley as some of our laws are trying to tax more towards those companies. They're looking for solutions elsewhere. Now, I think the workers here in Silicon Valley are superior to anywhere else in the world, truthfully. I maybe I'm biased, but it's also the best place in the world to live. I mean, I've lived in Arizona. It's freaking hot. It is really hot in Arizona. I've lived or not lived, I've visited, Texas, and it was 100 degrees and 90 something percent humidity. I wanted to die. I'm a big dude. That's a lot of heat and that's a lot of moisture. So we're a very Mediterranean style, temperature here, and it's a great place to live, and it really does bring out sort of the best in people, and it's why everyone wants to live here. It's why our home prices do so well, and they've always done well over the last 50 years. They've always done well, and they've always rebounded. Even if there's been a bad year, they've rebounded stronger the next year. I mean, I look at that stat from 2000 or 2020 to now being up 39%, even with a 7.6% dip in there. That's pretty incredible. But I'm going to end it here, guys. It's been amazing. If you have any questions, please throw your questions in before I run out of here. Happy to answer your questions live here. Thank you, Soul Cougar, for your question, or Soul Coffer. Well, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My phone number is 408-504-0385. Call or text me anytime. If you're moving to the area, I have a great buyer's guide that's going to be linked in the description. Please fill out that form and I'll get that sent right over to you. If you're curious what your home value is right now, you can send me a text and I'll send you a link that has, I'll have to get a little bit more information from you on exactly what renovations or what's been done to your home, the condition. So I have a little bit of a form you'll have to fill out, and then I'll get that home value sent over to you. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you got some good value out of it, and see you guys on the next video.